Hey, welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZoZoStockWatch.com, and this is going to be your Let's Get Ready for the Week Ahead. Video for the week of August 6th through August 10th. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We'll go through some of the action that passed last week, some of the things that moved the market. Then we'll go through some of the best and worst stocks, and then we'll look at some things that we should keep on our radar for the week ahead. So up here right now, I have this sector watch for you. So some of the sectors that did well this week percentage, this column right here that I'm highlighting. The XLV was up over 2% for the week. The XLP, which is the consumer staples, that was up almost 2% for the week. The IBB was up 1.5% for the week. The Qs up 1.38% for the week. That's the tech stocks. Transports had a good week, up 1.34%. XRT, the retail ETF, up 1.32% for the week. The XLU, utilities up 1.25%. XLK, the technology ETF, up 1.21%. The XHB up about 1%. The SPY itself was up about 0.75%. The SMH up almost 0.75% for the week. IWM a little bit under, almost above about 0.5%. IWC, which is the micro caps ETF, up a little under 0.5%. And then the Dow basically flat for the past week. Some of the ETFs that were down, the bank was down banks were down a fraction. The industrials were down a fraction. The XBI, the mid-cap biotechs were down a fraction for the week. Oil was down a little bit. The USO and light sweet crude oil, that closed at 68.49. So down a little bit for the week on the XLO light sweet crude there. OIH down about 0.5% for the week. The XOP exploration production down a little under 0.5% for the week, down about 0.5% for the week. The XLE down 1.81%, so almost 2% down there on the select sector, energy sector. XME, metals and mining, took a hit, down almost 3% for the week. And then our VIX, our complacency meter, volatility meter, down 10.67, almost down 11% for the week. So let's go ahead and look at some of the charts, some of the action. We'll start out with the IWM. As you can see here, the Russell 2000 holding above the 50 SMA, the dark blue line here you see on the daily chart. If we go to the weekly, you see we're trying to get above the 10 SMA on the IWM. This is the weekly, and then the black chart is the daily chart. Some other sectors that we'll take a quick look at real fast. Now we have the SMH, which is always important to the NASDAQ. And don't forget, NVIDIA earnings are coming out on the 16th of August. All right, so NVIDIA comes out on the 16th of August, but we are back above the 50 SMA on the SMH. If we go over to the weekly chart, you see that we're trying to get above the 10 SMA on the SMH for the weekly. The SPY itself, another narrow summer kind of day trading Friday. We had 54 million shares for Friday after the jobs number, that holding above the 5 EMA, holding above the 10 SMA. For the SPY, if we look at it on the weekly chart, we're holding above the 10 SMA, the light blue line you see here for the SPY. We'll look at the IBB real fast. The IBB holding above the 10 SMA and holding above the 10 SMA here also on the weekly chart for the IBB. The XBI, which is also part of the biotechs. This is the mid-cap biotech stocks. That on the weekly staying below the 10 SMA. On the daily chart staying below the 50 SMA for the XBI. So the bigger, larger cap IBB in the in the space is doing much better. So the large cap biotechs are doing much better right now. The retail stocks were up this week. We're back over the 10 SMA for the retail stocks. If we look at it on the weekly chart, we're also holding above the 10 SMA here on the XRT. We'll look at silver, really still drifting down on the weekly chart. Silver kind of bear flagging here, I would say, on the daily chart. If we look at gold, GLD still also drifting down, remaining under the 10 SMA on the GLD. The Dow Jones itself didn't have a big week, up, a fraction for the week. Still trying to get up over the 25,500 level for the Dow, the top 30 stock. Still get, nice movement in individual names or in the QQQ. So Dow only up a fraction this week, but other indices up nicely, like the Qs and the others that I showed you at the beginning of the video. UNG Nat Gas finally got back above the 50 SMA here on the UNG. If we look at it on the weekly chart for the UNG, we're trying to get back above the 10 SMA. Oil, the ETF for oil, holding above the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. We'll go on, scroll over to the daily chart, trying to get back over the 20 SMA. Oil itself, the XOIL, we're holding around 68.50 a barrel for light sweet crude oil, trying to reestablish the 50 SMA, but still below the 20 SMA on the daily chart. The weekly for oil, we're still in this kind of uptrending channel. We came down to the bottom of the channel, and we are trying to get back above the 10 SMA for oil. Now, if this breaks down, you would think maybe on the weekly basis we might head on down to the 50 SMA for oil, but right now this bottom of this trend channel for oil is holding up. Let's go ahead and look at some of the news that was moving the markets last week. Apple, the first company to hit $1 trillion. Imagine that after, about 2 decades ago, Apple was almost bankrupt, and here it is now, the first company to hit $1 trillion on Apple. There's articles out there saying that Apple did this with buybacks, financial engineering. Tim Cook is not as good a CEO as Steve Jobs, but as they say, it's what the hand is dealt right now, and Apple is one very strong stock. Tim Cook is leading the way and doing what he needs to do. So Apple is the first $1 trillion company. So some other news that we had last week is that the tariff talk continues back and forth back and forth between China and President Trump and the United States. A lot of communication, lack of communication, depending on, who you're listening to. China and USA, the rhetoric continues there. Friday, we had the employment report comes out. The job number comes out. It was expected for 190,000, and we got 157,000 for that number. So monthly job growth disappointed. The ISM Services Index falls to an 11th month low. Some macroeconomic information there. PMI Services Index was expecting 56.5. The actual came in at 56. So is the Fed hiking rates? Is that slowing down the economy? One of the questions that will be holding over the market's head here. Market stabilization. The bulls stepped up this week and pushed us over the top here. Now with the SPY, we're going to have to see next week if we can get up over the 286 area here, this 286.63. That was the January highs back on the 26th of 2018. So we are just under that level. We did breach and get above the 280 spot here. We are turning. So bulls are doing what they need to do, even on this low volume summer. The bulls are showing up when they need to, and so right now, I know the Fed it has meetings coming up in September and December. So we're going to have to see if September, if we're going to get a rate increase, and also in December. So that's some other things that will be overhanging on the market. So right now, though, the China news is being absorbed. Trump comes out with numbers like $500 billion worth of goods from China will be have tariffs placed on them. But every time we get that China news and the market moves down, the dip buyers show up and they are being rewarded. It seems like the futures in the overnight session are pushing down on the China news, and then the buyers are showing up during market hours. So dip buyers continue to win out here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the best stocks for the week, and then we'll look at some of the worst stocks for the week. Some of the best stocks, Tesla was a real good winner after their earnings report. Tesla and Elon Musk apologizing to analysts for his previous conference call. Tesla up 17% for the week. GoPro, there's a name we haven't heard from in a while. GoPro on the weekly chart had a great week, up 18% after their earnings. KLAC, Tenneco Corporation, up 11% for the week. KMB had a good week, up 8% for the week. After their earnings report, the stock moved up 7% for the week. POST, now this was that flight to safety that I was talking about. Post Holdings also up 6% for the week. Moving up 9% for the week on Apple after their earnings. TCS had a fantastic week, up 63% on TCS. The container store was kind of left for dead, and then out of nowhere, that one had their earnings and moved up nicely. HIIQ up 43% for the week. HABT had their earnings. Stock drove up 30%. INAP for the week was up 39% for the week. Wi-Fi had a very good week, up 30% for the week. WIFI, Soda, after their earnings, they went up 31% on Soda. Look at that huge move. Big volume came in on SODA. CTRL, now they're getting somebody into from Amazon into their company. Stock moved up 26% for the week. TNDM had a nice move this week, up 29% for the week. HEAR, who has their earnings coming up, we'll get more into that. This stock drove up 23% for the week on HEAR. ESIO was also had a very big week, a semiconductor name, up 28% for the week. NBIX, after their earnings report, a biotech name, up 8% for the week. BPMC, they also reported earnings, stock up 14%. Biotech name RXII. Their phase 2 met secondary endpoints on RXII. In their week, they were up 16% for the week. SBPH, positive phase 2 trial on SBPH. Stock moved up 15% for the week. TRVN, they have their PDUFA date set now for the 2nd of November. Earnings were also released for TRVN, and the stock moved up 12%. Some other stocks that had a good week, we had Quad U moving up 28% for the week. A&W, small little oil name, up 36% for the week. BGNX got FDA approval for a new drug application at PGNX. Stock up 20% for the week. Dish had earnings this week. They moved that one up 13% for the week. WMLB, a small little coal company, had their earnings come out. Stock moved up 148% for the week on 5.5 million shares on WMLP. NSYS, that stock was up 28% for the week. OXBR had a really nice Friday. The stock up 39% on OXBR Finance Services there. ATLC also had a very good week, up 21% on ATLC. So that's some of your best stocks for the week, and now some of your worst stocks for the week. Some of your worst stocks for the week: CAKE, Cheesecake Factory, came out with earnings. Stock dropped 16% for the week. US Steel, after their earnings report, stock dropped 13%, which drove down STLD. Also went down 8% for the week. TMST also dropped 12% for the week. NUE was down 5% for the week. So the steel stocks taking it on the chin there. SYMC also got hit, down 7% this week. Trip, after they came out with their earnings, the stock dropped 8% on the TRIP. Wynn Resorts had their earnings come out. Stock dropped 9%. BABA also dropping 5% for the week. Shack down this week after their earnings, down 13% for the week. IQ, one of the China Trio IPOs, down 11% this week. HUYA also took a hit of 11% this week. BILI, another China IPO, down 9% for the week. Blue Apron, APRN, after their earnings report came out, down 22% for the week. TNXP, stock dropped 16% for the week. Twitter taking a hit this week, down another 6% since their earnings. So this stock dropping another 6% this week on TWTR. MTSL, this stock dropped 21% this week. XENT, they did their earnings release, and that stock dropped 15%. Medical devices. SYN, they did a 1 for 35 reverse split, and it's going to take effect on 8/10 for the reverse split. So SYN this week, though, dropped 33% for the week. EPZM, terminating their phase 2 for one of their products on EPZM. So they're terminating the phase 2 for one of their products. This stock dropped 23%. RSLS, they're doing an offering of 1 million shares on RSLS, down 63% for the week. TSRO, larger than expected loss on earnings for TSRO. Stock dropped 23%. MNKD, disappointing earnings report on Mankind. MNKD, stock dropped 25% for the week. So that's some of your worst stocks for the week. So let's kind of get into some of the news that'll be coming up for the week ahead, some of the economic macro news, so we'll be ready. So this is the let's get ready for the week ahead part of the video. So as you can see, Monday, pretty quiet as far as macroeconomic news. On Tuesday, pretty straightforward as far as macro news, economic news. MBA mortgage applications coming out Wednesday on the 8th. Crude oil numbers coming out at 10:30. Thursday, the 9th, we have the PPI coming out at 8:30. We have initial jobless claims coming out. We have nat gas numbers coming out at 10:30. CPI will be coming out on Friday at 8:30. So those are your two big, maybe market moving economic numbers coming out at 8:30. PPI and then CPI on Friday. Both of those are inflation gauges, so we'll be watching those. So that's on Thursday the 9th and Friday the 10th. Let's get and look at some of the earnings that are coming out for the week ahead, courtesy of the Earnings Whisper. We have Tyson coming out, Cardinal Health, Turtle Beach, symbol there after the close on Monday. HEAR, Twilio, TWLO will be reporting earnings after the close on Monday. A couple of others here after the close Tuesday. Snap, Walt Disney, DIS, symbol there. Match, MTCH will be reporting earnings. We also have before the bell on Wednesday, CVS. We have Roku after the bell on Thursday. I'm sorry, after the bell on Wednesday for Roku. Bookings, BKNG, the new symbol for a Priceline, BKNG. So they'll be reporting earnings after the close on Wednesday. Before the bell on Thursday, we have Plug Power, PLUG, Cheniere, LNG, Coca-Cola, KO symbol there. Viacom will be reporting before the bell on Thursday. After the bell Thursday, we have Dropbox, DBX symbol there. The Trade Desk TTD will be reporting earnings on Thursday after the bell, and then Friday we have Ruth's Steakhouse, RUTH, will be reporting after before the bell on Friday. So that's some of your earnings, courtesy of Earnings Whisper. Courtesy from the trade exchange, some call activity that we had to the call side, unusual options activity. We had Campbell's Soup, we had Snap, we had SGMS, and we had CBS. On the put side, which is usually negative, we had Wendy's. Calls are positive, puts are negative. So Wendy's to the unusual put activity. Some of the top stocks. This is a newsletter that they mail out each and every night. So we had for top gainers, we had NGVC, CATM, HQCL, CTRL, Dish, CNXN, and HUD. We also had top losers, VREX, TSRO, Jobs, JOBS, GSAT, VRay. They had earnings, VRay, so that stock was down on Friday. And this, once again, is the mailing from the trade exchange. Let's go ahead and look at some of the news that came out after the bell Friday after the close. We had ACER announces closing of underwriting public offering for ACER. Bluebird Bio presents updated data on LentiD. Some other news that came out after the bell. Manpower announces new share repurchase authorization, so MAN. SNNA, a 250 mixed shelf. NVCN announces a collaboration and licensing agreement with Penn Medicine, so NVCN, a very low price stock. BGNE, Baker Brothers, reports a 22.3% stake. Over the weekend, we had some comments come out from President Trump. Tariffs are working big time. Every country on earth wants to take wealth out of the U.S., always to our detriment. I say as they come, tax them. If they don't want to be taxed, let them make or build the product in the U.S. In either event, it means jobs and great wealth. Our country. So two tweets coming out on tariff talk per President Trump over the weekend, courtesy of the trade exchange. All right, so that's your Let's Get Ready for the Week Ahead video. Hope you're more ready for the week ahead than you were before. Stocks to Watch video will be out later this evening. It is Sunday at the time of this video. Everybody have a very good rest of your weekend. Like I said, Stocks to Watch video will be out later this evening.